is going on, everybody? This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we are live because it is a Thursday and we do our live shows. Then we've been bouncing around a little bit, but I'm glad to be back on a normal schedule. Just like I'm fired up like our guy Xander. Let's go Hawks. I can't wait for the combine. I can't wait for the draft. Shout out to the U.S. Olympic women's hockey team for kicking some ass. If you're fired up like Xander, if you're fired up for the U.S. going and getting the gold in women's hockey, if you're like my guy, producer Searle, and myself, and you're fired up for the Seattle Seahawks, you're fired up for this country, go down below and spam USA. Shout out to my guy, Bunny. Shout out to my guy, Pop Toe. Shout out to my girl, Jessica. Shout out to Ryan, Zach, Ryan, Bunny, shout out to y'all spamming USA down below. My guy, shout out to Brian, shout out to Xander, what's going on? Staff, Callie, what's going on? Nathaniel, Jason, Soy, what's going on? I hope you're all fired up and you're down below in the comment section just spamming that USA. Because I'll tell you right now, I love when we whoop up on Canada. What's going on, James? Hope you're having a good one. Michael, what's going on? Dylan, how you doing? We're all fired up down below in the comment section, but we're also fired up here in Dallas because I got to introduce the most important man behind the scenes, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who right now he's wearing blue on his hat, but it's not like mine where it's the Seattle Seahawks. He's repping the Creighton Blue Jays because they finally came away with a victory. That, of course, is the great producer, Searle.
How's it going, everybody?
Dude, it is an electric day today. I'll tell you that right now.
Absolutely electric. Shout out to the USA women's hockey team. That was absolutely awesome.
Yes. Could not agree more. James is fired up for the Mariners because pitchers and catchers are reporting. Light Shadow Onyx, how are you doing? It's good to see you down below in the comment section. We'll get you up here in just 1 minute, and we'll get your question answered in just 1 minute as well. There's 8412s hanging out with us down below right now. Make sure you're firing through, getting your questions in for that hashtag Seahawks so we can answer that in the mailbag. But also, there's 90 of you in here now right now, but only 15 likes. So go smash that thumbs up button. Light Shadow Onyx, he's got a question for the 12s. He's got a question for producer Searle and myself. How would you feel if we got rid of Walker, but were able to get Breece Hall at a cheaper price? I find this question interesting. Searle, we're going to come to you in just a minute, but I am selfish, so I am going to go first here. I believe still, in my heart of hearts, that we saw at the end of the season Kenneth Walker at what he will be and what he can be if he becomes more of a featured type of back, which he would have to be to start next season with the injury to Zach Charbonnet. I believe that Kenneth Walker fits this offense the best. I believe that the Seahawks will eventually get a deal done. That being said, if you told me that Breece Hall was who the Seahawks went with instead of Kenneth Walker, I do feel like you're going to end up getting about 85 to 90% of the production. And they're around the same age, if I remember correctly. So it's not the end of the world. You just get Breece Hall probably for a little bit cheaper than you would potentially get Kenneth Walker. Where are you sitting on that right now, Searle?
Yeah, I don't think I think Breece Hall's a big step down from KW. I think you pay Walker more. I don't want to settle for Breece Hall. He's battled some injuries throughout his career.
True.
And what we saw from K9 at the end of the year, if he can put that together on a consistent basis, then I don't think you change that up. I think you pay the man.
I don't necessarily disagree with you there, Searle. I do think that is a very good take. What's going on, Spot? Good to see you down below. Light Shadow Onyx, thank you for sending in that super chat. Thank you to my guy Xander as well. You guys are both going to be on our mailbag, which will be our final segment on today's live show. If you would like to make sure that you are a part of that show, send in a super chat with your question, and we will make sure that we get you up so that we can answer that question or comment on the Seattle Seahawks. Now, of course, if you do not choose to send in a super today, you can use the hashtag Seahawks to try and get your questions on the show. I promise we will do our best to get as many questions as we can possibly get on the show, but I cannot guarantee that. Make sure, though, that you're using those hashtags and you're in the comment section because, Cyril, that is what's most important. We are an interactive show. We are a show where we want the people to get their questions in. We love interacting with all of y'all. Like Shadow Onyx, my guy Xander, you guys have been here for quite some time. So we always do love and appreciate having a good time with you guys, answering as many questions as we possibly can. I also think that is pretty cool. Some things that we've got going on here on the channel. VGX, of course, we do love you as well. And one of the really cool things that we've been promoting and we've been able to do here is we have a lot of merch now going on. And the new merch that we have is the St. Patrick's Day merch. Look at how sweet the drinking team is that we've got going on for our design. Look at that green. It's so fresh. It's so fly. It is so freaking pretty. We also have it in the navy if you would prefer that as well. I'm going to make sure that I get that link for you down below in the comment section. If you haven't had an opportunity to yet, go and pick yourself up one today. They're really freaking cool. Only $29.99. So go grab one of those. All you got to do, click that link. It's in the comment section right now. It'll also be in the comment section and description of today's video. Click that link. It'll take you right where you need to be. And hey, guess what? You're having a pretty darn fresh t-shirt. One that I think is so freaking sweet. So make sure you go and grab that right now if you could. What do we have on today's show, Cyril? Well, it's a jam-packed, it is a loaded show. We're going to be talking about some major news in free agency around the Seattle Seahawks. What could potentially be happening? 2 rumors, as well as one bit of coaching news that we're going to talk about in there. Then we're going to go through Daniel Jeremiah's latest mock draft and the demon that he has the Seattle Seahawks potentially taking with that 32nd pick overall. And then, of course, we're going to get into a mailbag because, well, it's one of the most fun things that we do here on the channel. So if you haven't had an opportunity to yet, make sure that you get your questions in and you can use the hashtag. We're actually doing something really cool that you do not want to miss out on. So make sure that you send in those super chats because, well, if you do, you're going to be entered into a raffle giveaway that we're going to be doing with a very special someone, a very special friend of the show. Make sure that you go in and hit that thumbs up button. We're trying to get to 115 likes on today's video, and we are quite a ways away. So make sure that you go in and you hit that thumbs up button. Don't want to miss out on any of those opportunities. My guy, Pop Toes, how much is shipping? It's not too terrible. It's very, very, very affordable from my understanding. Very, very affordable. I can't give you an exact number on that because it does depend, I believe, on where you're ordering from. So go in, grab that thing. It'll tell you how much the shipping is, and you'll absolutely love it. Make sure you don't miss out on that. So something really cool happened today, and I want to make sure that I give a special shout out to this person. I've been in contact with a fellow 12 and someone by the name of Heidi who does a fantastic job with some jewelry. So you might have noticed on my arm today I have a bracelet, and I'm going to show it off here because Heidi, she did a great job. She made me a custom 12s bracelet. If you can't see it, that's okay. I'll post it on my social media. But what Heidi did, and I thought was really cool, is that she didn't just send me a piece of jewelry. She sent a piece of jewelry to us here on the channel that we are going to be raffling away. So whenever you are a part of a live show, and we're going to have this go from now until the end of March, if you send in a super chat during our live shows, we're going to get you a raffle ticket, and we will raffle off this very cool bracelet. And I think it's so stinking cool. Look at that. It's gold. You got a star on there. There's a 12 just like mine. She's got a very cool charm, and, of course, she's got a football on there. Not only do I think it's cool for a man to wear because, well, I've got mine on right now. I think it's so fresh. It's also something that, hey, you need a gift for the lady. That is something that could easily go there. So I want to give a special thank you to Lucky Links and Heidi. And if you have any questions or you want to have a closer look at it, I'm going to make sure that I put out a picture on my social media of myself wearing it, as well as maybe a little bit of a closer look at that one as well. Jerry. Good to see you, sir. I hope that you've been having a wonderful week, Jerry. A real one here of Seahawks today. Jerry asks, Seahawks trading the 32nd pick, no doubt. JS going to create more picks. A diamond would need to fall to 32 to make that pick. Jerry, I actually think that's a pretty darn good sentiment. We've seen that John Schneider obviously likes to move around in the drafting, likes to acquire a lot of picks. Remember, because of the Rashid Shaheed trade, well, Seahawks don't have a ton of picks in this draft. They have a first, second, and a third, but then they don't have their fourth or their fifth, and then they have their sixth. It would make a lot of sense for John Schneider unless the Seahawks fall in love with someone that's there at 32, which in my case, fingers crossed, it's Akeem Mesidor. Unless they fall in love with someone who's there at pick number 32, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for them to actually necessarily sit on that. We're going to talk about a player today that was mocked to the Seahawks that I do see could potentially fall into that category, but I do like where Jerry's head is at. Don't be shocked if the Seahawks move on from that spot. Pop Toast, that's a very funny question. Shout out to you, Jerry. Appreciate it. Got you that raffle ticket, Xander and Light Shadow Onyx. Of course, we got you those raffle tickets as well. Thank you to everyone who's in viewing the show today. Searle, our like numbers, they're a little bit down. Less than what we are normally sitting at. So here's what I'm thinking, Searle. We got to set a number before we can do that very first video because I do want to get into the latest news and I want to make sure that we get it out to you guys, the people. So here's what I'm thinking. We got 70 people in the building with us right now. Let's get to 50 likes. If we can get to 50 likes, we will do our first segment because we are, at the end of the day, trying to get to 115 total likes on today's show. Right now, we're going to try and get to 50 likes before we get into that first segment. It's free. It's not going to cost you a dime. All you got to do, you hit that thumbs up button. It helps us be able to go to the bosses and say that we need to do more live shows and more live content. My guy Jerry, Light Shadow, Onyx, and of course Xander, they've been here throughout the year on different live shows. They know how much fun it can be. They know how wild and crazy we can get. We want to do more live content. If you've ever checked out any of our Raiders stuff, they're live like almost every single day. I want to be in a place where we can do that. Producer Searle and I have a great time hanging out with you guys. The more likes that we can get on a video, the more subs we can get on the channel, the more cool things that we will be able to do. So thank you for everyone who came in and hit that sub button already. But more importantly, thank you to everyone who came in and hit that like button because bang, we're over those 50 likes. That's so freaking awesome. Thank you to Pop Toes and my guy Michael and my guy VGX for helping us out down below in the comment section. Make sure that you go in and hit that thumbs up button. And remember, if you want to be on today's show and you want to be on our show on Saturday, you got to send in that super chat or use the hashtag Seahawks to get your question on the show. I can't guarantee that you'll be on if you use the hashtag. I can guarantee that you'll be on if you use the super chat feature. So make sure that you do that if you want to get your question or your comment talked about on a show, not just today, but on Thursday or Saturday as well. Sorry about that. A little parched. Been talking all day. A lot of excitement going on in the Chat Sports Studios. A lot of excitement around USA Hockey. Around USA Hockey. Searle, are we good to go, my good sir? We are ready to go. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do our first segment. We'll be right back after we are through with this. Make sure that you're interacting with us in the comment section. And most importantly, keep smashing that thumbs up button because there's already 80 new people hanging out with us. So if you haven't hit that thumbs up button, please make sure that you do so. Okay, you ready? Let's do it. This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and the Seahawks are continuing to dominate the headlines of this offseason. Obviously, throughout the postseason, the Seahawks were the number one team. They dominated the 49ers. They went toe-to-toe and got the job done with the Rams. And then, of course, it was BTA against the Patriots for that Super Bowl victory. So everyone was talking about the Seahawks. Then it was, where's Clint Kubiak going to go? Once he left, oh, okay. Well, who's going to become the new OC in Seattle? And now we are transitioning after already knowing what the coaching staff is going to finally look like. We are also going to be able to start talking about some free agency news and talking about some free agency news around some big-time players with the Seattle Seahawks. What are we going to be talking about on today's show? Well, there was a coach that got a much-deserved promotion that I want to make sure we hit off the top because, well, Mike Macdonald, he just continues to build a very strong staff. Is Rashid Shaheed going to end up staying in Seattle? There's a pretty big statement that he made on a show earlier this week that I think makes it pretty clear what his plan is going to be. And then, of course, we got to talk about Riq Woolen because the corner that I want to say is a star, but probably just outside of the star range, he has been very wishy-washy on if he's going to stay in Seattle. I feel like we're finally starting to get a look on where he may potentially end up. Before we do that, though, I need to let you know how close we are to 85,000 subscribers. Only 147 more subs until we get to 85K. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you hit that sub button. If you have a friend that loves the Seattle Seahawks and is not subscribed to this channel, make sure that they do so. Next week, we are going to have multiple Chat Sports employees that are down at the NFL Combine. We're going to have all kinds of crazy content that you don't want to miss out on. So make sure that you hit that sub button so you keep up with everything on the Seattle Seahawks, but especially so you keep up with everything on the Seattle Seahawks around the NFL Combine, because eventually those players, they're going to be drafted. They're eventually going to be Seattle Seahawks. The coaching promotion that I want to talk about is for Justin Otten. The Seahawks did right by him because he was a fantastic coach. He was a fantastic personnel decision maker for the Seahawks this season, and he's a big reason why the Seahawks were able to go out and end up winning Super Bowl LX. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler put this out earlier today, and then, of course, I made a short on it as well that was out on my social media as well as our YouTube here. But the Seahawks have officially promoted Justin Otten to be their run game coordinator, and this was the right move because what the Seahawks did that not a lot of people saw or talked about was there was a change made at the running back coach position. Obviously, Coach Polamalu ended up stepping away from the Seattle Seahawks, and Justin Otten ended up stepping into that running back coaching role, and I think that's where you saw a lot of the success for the running backs of the Seattle Seahawks really flourish. When we look at the stat line for Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet this season, we're all going to kind of say, hey, that's a pretty good clip that both of those guys had. They ran the football very well, and it was very effective. But to sit here and say that both of those guys had eye-popping numbers, well, that would be wrong, and that would be a lie. But what I do think is important, especially for Kenneth Walker, but Zach Charbonnet as well, that rushing attack really exploded the last 3 games of the regular season and the entire postseason with Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker had over 500 yards in the last 6 games of the season. That's how well he was playing in this game, and that is, in my opinion, largely tied to Otten and Benton and the offensive line, of course, in Seattle. When I look at head coach Mike Macdonald, I can tell that he is building a championship-level staff. Because think about who you have now as a coach in Seattle. You have Justin Otten, a guy who was interviewing and was almost your offensive coordinator. You have a guy, Jake Peetz, who was a passing game specialist, a passing game coordinator for you, who was also interviewing to be OC and was someone that people thought would be a very good candidate for that. Thomas Hammock, who's now your running back coach. He was also interviewing for that OC position, almost had it. And then the guy who's your OC is Brian Fleury, and well, he went out and he won the job. Mike Macdonald is going to get the Seahawks back to the Super Bowl. I don't know if it will be next year, but with the staff that he's building, you just simply cannot not have success. This team is too good. This staff is too good. Is head coach Mike Macdonald building another championship-level coaching staff in Seattle? Let me know down below in the comment section, yes or no. Make sure that you sound off and you say it with your chest. I'll tell you right now, my answer, of course, is yes. The big question that I think a lot of people are asking at the wide receiver position is, will Rashid Shaheed end up staying in Seattle? Obviously, the Seahawks had to give up a lot of draft capital for the opportunity to go and get him. And so it's going to be very important for the Seahawks to make sure that they re-sign him and keep him with the Seattle Seahawks, not just because of what he can do in the special teams game, but more importantly, what he can do in this passing attack. And frankly, I think that Shaheed needs to stay in Seattle, and he's really close to being on the verge to being unlocked. Before we get into any of that, though, I need to let you know about my good friends over at Marsmen, because nobody tells you about this stuff. One day, you're absolutely crushing it, and then the next, you're wondering why everything just feels twice as hard. After V-Day, I kind of treated it like a reset. I wanted to feel energized again, not worn down. So I'm keeping it simple and doing something natural that supports my body where it needs it. That's why I'm taking Marsmen. It helps your body unlock usable testosterone so you can feel like yourself again. Check out mengotomars.com to get 50% off for life plus free shipping and 3 free gifts. Stronger physical performance and recovery in the gym? What is not to love? Marsmen supports healthy T levels, energy, and stamina with 8 natural, clinically dosed ingredients, including vitamin D, zinc, and boron. The best part, there's a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Worst case, you don't absolutely love it and you get your money back, but over 91% of users report higher energy levels. Thousands of guys are feeling incredible results. Just check out the reviews on the website to see for yourself. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them Seahawks Today sent you. Shout out to Mars, man. Your boy's over here trying to get a little yoked. We'll see if he gets there. Rashid Shaheed, back to the most important thing on today's video. He went on NFL Network and he was talking with the insiders about what his plans were for the 2026 NFL regular season, because there's a lot of teams that are very interested in the abilities of Rashid Shaheed. He's a great returner, obviously, but it does feel like there's a lot of meat left on the bone when it comes to his wide receiver skills, and I know a lot of teams think that they can take advantage of that, the Seahawks being one of them. Shaheed kind of shared where he's hoping to be next season. Absolutely, absolutely, he said. Conversations are definitely going to be heating up towards March, but, I would love to come back. I loved my experience here. He's talking about Seattle. I'm loving the Pacific Northwest, and obviously the organization is second to none. I kind of want to run it back. We just won the Super Bowl, so why not? The Seahawks have to bring him back. Obviously, Shaheed's trying to do the smart thing when it comes to the business side, and we all have to be aware of that in the National Football League. A player isn't going to outright say, well, there's only one place where I want to be, because, well, then his price goes down and his value goes down, and Shaheed's trying to get the most out of his next contract. But it is important to note that when you look at Shaheed, Seattle needs to bring him back. He fits into what this system is. He fits into what this scheme is. He fits into what this team wants to do. And he continues to get better year after year. The only reason he didn't get better in 2024 is because of an injury. So, if the Seahawks were able to bring back Shaheed, I think that they can build upon the stats that he has there as a wide receiver. It is important to note, though, when you look at the entire season for Shaheed, most of his success in the wide receiver position actually came in New Orleans. He was only able to get 188 yards receiving with the Seahawks, and he never ended up scoring a receiving touchdown. But I think it's important to note this because Rashid Shaheed didn't get a full offseason with quarterback Sam Darnold. He really just kind of came in and had to get plugged into the system and plugged into this team. I think that if Shaheed comes back, he has a full offseason where he's working with Darnold, he's understanding exactly what this offense is going to be. Darnold is understanding some of those unsaid things, those communication skills that Darnold clearly has with JSN, where he knows where he's going to be without having to talk to him. Seattle, if they're able to do that with Rashid Shaheed, you will see him be unlocked. How many deep balls were just over his hands or just underthrown this last season? I can think of at least 4 or 5 of them, one of them being in the Super Bowl. If Sam Darnold and Shaheed have an entire offseason where they can work together, I think you are going to see him explode as one of the big-time deep threats in the National Football League. That's also with the fact that more teams are going to focus on JSN. Tory Horton's going to be back, so there's an extra deep threat. And, well, Cooper Kupp, that guy is just always finding ways to get open. Shaheed will get unlocked, and he needs to stay in Seattle. Seahawks have to go after him. Before we get into the Riq Woolen news here, I got to let you know about this sweet deal that we've got going on at chatsports.com right now. Because St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner, you don't want to be caught without a great t-shirt, because we have those here at chatsports.com/Seahawks Green, or Sea Green, excuse me. You can go and grab this sweet green t-shirt, or you can go grab the navy, only $29.99. It is a sweet deal. All you got to do is click the link in the comment section and description of today's video. It'll take you right where you need to go. Super affordable t-shirt, and you are going to be the talk of the town on St. Patty's Day when you're wearing the coolest drinking t-shirt out there. Riq Woolen, it does kind of feel like the time is over for him in Seattle. Unfortunately, the way that he has been talking has been kind of similar to, I would say, a player that wants to be non-committal. It sounds like a player who is going to go to the highest bidder. Obviously, I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with him before the Super Bowl. And we're going to play that clip here, and I want you to really listen to how he talks about Seattle and if he will stay or if he will go.
That's a good question, man. That's one thing that, that it's always in the back of my mind, but also, I've been where my feet at. I've been blessed to be with this team. I've been able to, contribute and have fun and enjoy this journey with them, and there's no better way to, be at the end of this journey or continue this journey after this game or during this game. So I'm just happy to be here, and it's a blessing.
So you notice there that Woolen, while he was very complimentary of Seattle and, of course, of the Seahawks organization, he did not really dive into why he wants to stay in Seattle or why he would want to go anywhere else. And that makes a ton of sense, right? You're getting ready for the Super Bowl. That's what you're more focused on. But what I do feel is interesting is that after the Super Bowl victory, you kind of expect Woolen to be a little bit more excited about staying in Seattle. A couple of the other guys who were free agents who had been kind of non-committal, which is smart by them. It's how they make the most money possible. Woolen hasn't really changed his tune, and if anything, he's been pretty dang cryptic on social media, where it makes it sound like he is not going to be in Seattle anymore. The big one that sticks out in my head is he posted a GIF where it's Will Smith in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, kind of looking here, looking there, and there's nothing. No one's around him, and there's no furniture. Dude, are you leaving? Because that's what that post feels like to me, and that's not even to mention some of the other stuff that's been posted by people who are representing him. When we look at Riq Woolen and his career so far in Seattle, I think that he's a pretty darn good cornerback. Yes, that rookie year made it seem like he was going to be the next Richard Sherman, and he's clearly taken a slight step down from that. It's also important to note that he's had a lot of success in this year. As the year went on, he got better and better. What will always be important to mention when it comes to Riq Woolen is that he is a man corner, and the Seahawks do not run a lot of man concepts. The Seattle Seahawks in Mike McDonald's defense want to run a lot of zone defenses, and so it doesn't always necessarily fit what Riq wants to do. I still believe that Riq would be willing to come back to Seattle if the price tag was right. When we look at Spot Track right now, it looks like the projection for Riq Woolen is somewhere right around that $8.1 million, almost $8.2 million for an average annual salary. So if he were to sign a one-year deal, it would be a little bit over $8 million. If he were to sign a two-year deal, it would be right at about $16.5 million, and so on and so forth, right? I believe that because of the Super Bowl victory and how well that Riq Woolen has played in the past and how well he can potentially play, I think he's going to top that number. I think that there's a real shot that Riq Woolen is actually closer to $10 million a year per average annual value, because we have seen a lot of NFL teams see a player who had a little bit of success with some great potential that's still there, get paid an absolute bag in free agency because the team doesn't want to miss out on that player. Riq Woolen has had a lot of success. He now has a Super Bowl victory to go along with his Pro Bowl award as well. I just see a team come in and be willing to pay a ton of money. So the question will be, do the Seahawks want to pay that amount of money? I'll be interested to see it. Let me know down below in the comment section where you believe Riq Woolen will be playing next season. Do you think he's going to be in Seattle? Do you think that he's going to end up playing somewhere else? Go in the comment section. Make sure you name that team and let us know where you think Riq Woolen will be putting on his uniform in the 2026 NFL season. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you do so now. We are within 200 subscribers of our Knicks Now channel. We want to catch them and become the 11th biggest channel here at Chat Sports. That's the JSN number. That number would be so freaking sweet. Make sure that you hit that sub button. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video, and I can't wait to see you next time. Boy, oh boy, did we have a day in there. Make sure that you're using your hashtag Seahawks if you haven't done so already. I see my guy Jerry Pop Toes, Big Dog Daddy. What's up, dude? Alex, good to see you guys in there using that hashtag. And of course, my guy Xander. Shout out to Alyssa Liu becoming the first American woman to win Olympic figure skating gold in 24 years. Incredible achievement. Shout out USA, USA, USA. Let's go. Let's freaking go. I'll always shout out those who are doing very well for our country. Thank you to everyone. Remember, if you want to get on the show today and you want to be in that raffle for the Lucky Links jewelry, we'll be giving that away at the end of March. So you got plenty of time. Use that super chat to get in, and we'll get you on a future show as well. We'll get you on today's show as well as Saturday's show. We got 80 people in the building. We're at 71 likes. That means at least 9 of y'all have not hit that thumbs up button. Make sure that you do so because we are trying to get to 115 likes on today's show. That is our goal. I'd love to be able to go to the bosses and say, hey, we are absolutely crushing it. We get a ton of people that come in and hang out with us. We need to do more of these live shows. We want to do more of these live shows because we want to hang out with y'all. It's always a grand time. We had a grand time, Searle and I, with my guy, Jerry, last week at the Super Bowl parade live stream. Ton of fun. Ended up being live for over 4 hours. There were games this year that we weren't that long on our lives. That's how long we were live. It was so freaking cool. I had a ton of fun.
Oh, it was so much fun. It was a blast. You only get to do that so often in your lifetime.
Yeah,
some people aren't even lucky enough to do it in their lifetime.
I didn't even get to watch the first Super Bowl parade. I had to go to high school.
Ooh.
My parents, yeah, see, that's the problem. Both my parents are teachers. I love them dearly. But the great Tom and Deb, last name redacted, it's Hortner. They did not allow their son to skip school to go to the parade. Should that shock people? No, they're teachers, and they care about learning things and whatnot. Jerry asks, sorry, we went there on a little diatribe. We got distracted, Jerry. What does the secondary look like if we lose Riq and Job? I'll tell you right now, it doesn't look all that great for the Seahawks because you have Devin Witherspoon, who I believe we are going to give a big fat contract to. And we'll do a video on his and JSN's big fat contract that's coming at some point here on the channel. Might even end up going out tomorrow or potentially this weekend. Could be something interesting to make sure that you're following us here on the channel to keep track of. But it is important to note that if Job and Riq Woolen end up leaving, that does mean that Seattle would be in a cornerback position that is not so freaking fresh. What could happen for the Seahawks, of course, is they would be looking at the draft as well as looking in free agency. Nehemiah Pritchett would still be on staff, so that is important to note. Some free agent cornerbacks that are going to be out there, by the way, because I wanted to make sure I pulled that up while I answered your question here, Jerry, is there's some decent guys that are still out there. We talked about potentially trading for Rasul Douglas, a guy who had played with Miami. Now, the problem with Douglas is he's a little bit on the older end. Nashawn Wright had a very good year this year in Chicago. Could be someone that the Seahawks definitely take a look at. But I'll tell you right now, as I look more and more through some of these free agents, I don't love a ton of them. Greg Newsome would be someone who would be fun for the Seahawks, and I do think that he could really add to this defense. He's a younger guy, so someone who could play a big-time role with this squad. I did AJ Green. Not that AJ Green, a different AJ Green. I'm going through that list right now. Kilo Witherspoon, would be someone who is on there as well. So I'll tell you right now, it definitely feels like you'd want to make sure that you re-sign at least one of Riq Woolen or Josh Jobe. And then you go after someone like Brandon Cece, the kid out of South Carolina. I like what I've seen so far on his tape. Obviously, next week we are going to have the NFL Combine. And so I do think it's important to note that you might see some big-name cornerback free agents, or draft targets, that you might want to take a closer look at, because I certainly will be, if the Seahawks want to use that position to come up with a big and fun draft pick there. Payton! Boom! Payton bringing the boom today. Payton, I'm going to make sure that I get you down for 4 of those tickets. Payton, make sure that you message me on Instagram. I think that you're following me, but I just want to make sure that I have you because, one, I want to make sure I give a special thank you to you. You've been hanging out with us for quite some time here on Seahawks Today. But more importantly, if you do end up winning this raffle, which, again, won't be until the end of March, but if you do end up winning this raffle, I want to make sure that I'm able to get this very cool, very fresh bracelet from Lucky Links to you. Peyton says, think we can get Tyler Linderbaum, 4 years, $76 million. Yes, I do. I think that Tyler Linderbaum is going to get paid a bag. And I think that if the Seahawks really want to make sure that they go out and get him, they can. Baltimore is going to want to pay a bunch of money for Linderbaum. The Chargers in LA are going to want to pay a bunch of money for Linderbaum. And the Seahawks are going to want to make sure that they pay a bunch of money for Linderbaum. He would be a gigantic upgrade, and he would make this offense as a whole the best that it has ever been on that offensive line. This isn't an attack on Jalen Sundell, who I actually believe is a very good player, but what you would do is you would take one of the best centers in the National Football League, if not the best, put him at that center position. Now you have a second quarterback out there on the field, but more importantly, you now get to set up a position battle at that right guard spot between Anthony Bradford and Jalen Sundell. Two guys that are borderline, they're better than borderline starters. Two guys who are starters in the National Football League, and I would say quality, although Anthony Bradford still clearly has some things he needs to improve upon. And then they would battle it out for the rest of the year in an iron-sharpening iron type of situation to eventually have that right guard be the best possible right guard that you could potentially have. So yes, I think we can get Tyler Linderbaum. The question will be around Linderbaum, how much are they willing to pay? How much are the Seahawks going to be willing to pay? Because they could potentially still go after a guy like a Connor McGovern, especially if he ends up hitting free agency, a very good and quality center as well. Peyton, this is what you are in a raffle ticket and earned 4 raffle tickets for Jerry as well, Light Shadow Onyx and Xander the Great. Lucky Links, thank you to Heidi and her company. Sent us this very cool bracelet. I've got mine on right now. I'm rocking it. I think it's so freaking cool. It's a 12s bracelet. You got the football on there, and it's in the gold. You can wear it yourself, or you could end up giving that to the special lady friend who is near and dear to your heart. If you have an opportunity to, that is definitely a website that you should also definitely check out, because Heidi has a ton of fantastic jewelry items. And I'll tell you right now, special lady friend does appreciate it when you get it for a holiday, whether that is a holiday like Valentine's Day or a birthday or, New Year's, Christmas, whatever you choose to celebrate. Maybe on Flag Day, Cyril, you can get yourself some Lucky Links and give that over to your special lady friend in your life. Right now, we're trying to get to 115 likes. We are at 85 likes on today's video. I think that we can get there. I think that we can get to triple digits. We have a second segment that we are going to do before we get into our mailbag, which, by the way, if you want to make sure that you're in on that, send in a super chat, and we'll make sure that we get you on that mailbag. You can also use the hashtag Seahawks. We're going to try to get as many people on the show as possible with the hashtag Seahawks. But again, I can't guarantee that you'll be on the show unless you send in that super chat, which, by the way, Peyton, we definitely got to figure out. We got to figure out some sort of punishment for me to do as we sign off. Since you sent in that 20, maybe we'll do push-ups. We'll do 20 push-ups for my guy Peyton. If you guys want to add on to that, here's what we'll do, Cyril. Every super chat from here on out through Peyton's is push-ups that I will do at the end of the show. So right now I owe 20. We'll make sure that whatever that number is from here till the end of the show, not only will we get you on today's show and Saturday's show, we'll also make sure that I'm doing some punishments because, well, I just want to make sure that I show my appreciation as much as possible. All right, Cyril, we are at 100 people hanging out with us. I think we can get to 95 likes. We're at 90 likes right now. Hit that thumbs up button if you do so. We will start the next segment if we get to 95 likes on today's show, on today's channel. So make sure that you come in and hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. We're 3 likes away. Help us get there. We want to get there as soon as possible. We're talking about a draft target that the Seahawks could be going after, according to one NFL expert on today's show. And I'll tell you right now, as someone who watches a lot of college football, clearly cares a lot about college football, I think that the Seahawks might be getting an absolute demon if they end up making this snag here, if they end up getting this pick. Only 2 likes away. All you got to do, hit that thumbs up button. We want to make sure that we get to that like number. We can get to 95 likes. All you got to do, hit that thumbs up button. 94, we're 1 away. Who's going to be the person who pushes us over that list? Peyton! I am playing with fire, but I want to make sure that I get the pecs looking nice and good. Here, we can pop you up right now, sir. And then we'll get into our next cut. No problem. I will make sure that I answer that later. We're getting business texts over here. Have we not? I think we have. I think that we have. I'll tell you. I'll tell you in just a little bit. Because we got to get my guy Peyton up. Because guess what? We already got our 95 likes. So as soon as we answer Peyton's question, we talk a little bit about this. Make sure you get your opinion heard down below in the comment section as well. Just because it's Peyton putting that question through doesn't mean that we can't hear your opinion as well. Peyton says, playing with fire, bro. Also, I don't think the price for Max Crosby will be way too high. Now, here's what's interesting is our Raiders Report host actually has come up with a trade. And what we'll do in the mailbag is we will answer this question with the trade from Mitchell Renz. So, Cyril, if you could actually go into Raiders right now and you can grab that trade graphic, if you have a question on it, I can help you here in just a little bit. But I'll tell you right now, Peyton, when I heard what Mitchell Renz was proposing to me for the Seahawks to give up to get Max Crosby, I was willing to do it. I was willing to do it pretty quickly. It's not that crazy of a trade proposal. Yeah, you're going to have to give up some draft capital. You should if you're the Seattle Seahawks. Give up a first or a second right now so that way you can get someone that's going to help you win a Super Bowl right now because you're clearly in that window. So to me, hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'd give up some of the capital that they want. Peyton, I don't disagree with you, man. I think you're right on track. think you're putting us in a pretty good position there to come up with a big time snag for the Seattle Seahawks, because I really do believe that Max Crosby could take this crew and this team to the next level. Yes, you have it. Oh, do you want to show it right now and then we'll get into that segment? Awesome. I would love that. I would love that. Quick bit of business behind the scenes. We did a list 5 for the Ducks, didn't we? On the subs? I think we did. We'll talk about it later. Doesn't matter. Here was Mitchell Renz's trade idea. So he had the Seattle Seahawks giving up their first-round pick this year, first-round pick next year, and Tyrese Knight for Max Crosby. The Raiders want 2 first-round picks. I think that the Seahawks should be willing to give up 2 first-round picks and Tyrese Knight. Tyrese Knight is a backup on this team. He's more of a Mike linebacker anyways. So make sure that you re-sign Drake Thomas, who I think the Seahawks could still get for relatively cheap. You're trading away pick number 32, which to me, personally, you're going to use that on someone. There's no one that you're going to use that pick on that's better than Max Crosby. You're just not. You're not. Right now, Max Crosby would be the ideal defensive end / edge rusher to fit into this defense. He's still relatively young. He's still performing at a high level. Trade it away. I would do this tomorrow. So to me, I would do this. And here's the thing. If the Seahawks go back-to-back, it's a 32 pick next year. Trade it. What's the worst-case scenario for the Seahawks, by the way, for that 2027 pick? What's the worst-case scenario? You're picking at 20? 20? Like, this is a playoff team. If everything goes to S, everyone gets hurt, that's still a playoff team. So it's 20 or worse? I'd make that deal. Not to quote Brad Pitt in that Quentin Tarantino movie, but damn good deal. I'd make that deal. Damn good deal. If you're new to the show, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. We're 2 likes away from 100. We're going to answer my guy Light Shadow Onyx's question here in just one moment. And then we're going to get into our second cut because I did promise you guys that. Shout out to Light Shadow Onyx. What's going on, my good friend? It is so good to freaking see ya. 103 people hanging out with us now. Hit that thumbs up button. Let's get over 100 likes. Light Shadow Onyx says, rate my Seahawks mock draft. Zachariah Branch, wide receiver. Kamari Ramsey, safety. Zakee Whitley, corner. Gerard Washington, corner. Aiden Fisher, LB. Here's what I would say to this, Light Shadow Onyx. I actually do think it's a fairly decent draft. It's a very good draft. I'm a big fan of Zachariah Branch as well. What I would say is this. I do believe, I was listening to Dane Brugler earlier, and he was talking about the cornerback position in this draft. I do believe that the Seahawks would take a corner either in the first or second round because there is a big drop-off after you get outside of the corners that fall in those top 100 draft picks. So don't be shocked if you see the Seahawks take a corner a little bit earlier. But I'll tell you right now, Light Shadow Onyx, I'm giving that a pretty decent B+. That's a pretty darn good B+. And this is me going on a harder grading scale. Right? I'm going on a little bit more of a difficult grading scale because, well, I do believe that the Seahawks might actually take a wide receiver early. Because I'll tell you right now, there's an NFL expert that kind of thinks that too. And we're going to get into that segment here right now. What's up, Cody? It's good to see you, man. That would be interesting if he did end up over there. That would be interesting to see him end up over there. All right, we're going to get into our segment here on who the Seahawks could be taking in the NFL draft, according to this NFL expert. And then we'll come back. And when we come back, we'll be answering a few more of your questions before we go live with our mailbag segment. Remember, if you want to be a part of that segment, all you got to do, send in a super chat or use the hashtag Seahawks. If you send in a super chat, guarantee you'll be on the show. Cannot guarantee that you'll be on the show if you use that hashtag Seahawks, but you'll be on today's show. And, of course, you will be on our show on Saturday. We ready, Searle? Let's do this thing. This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and are the Seattle Seahawks about to draft an absolute demon at pick 32? Look, I know there's a lot of people like my guy Jerry Brooks that believe that John Schneider will end up trading out of pick number 32 to acquire more picks for the Seahawks. That's kind of been his MO, and I don't necessarily disagree with my guy Jerry, but there is a chance that if the Seahawks find a player that they don't want to let get away from them, they could go out and make a big-time draft pick at number 32. And Daniel Jeremiah, he thinks that the Seahawks could be taking someone that is a bit of a surprise player for the Seahawks. One, because I don't know that this player would necessarily be there at pick number 32. I've seen a lot of other mock drafts where this player was taken a lot higher. And it's also a player that isn't necessarily a need as of right now, or the position that he plays isn't necessarily a need. That doesn't mean that the position won't be a lead later on or a big-time need for the Seahawks. Just depends on what they do in free agency. Who's that player? We'll get into that after you share the video on social media. Help the Seahawks Today family grow. We are trying to get bigger and bigger every single day. We want to make sure that we are the biggest and loudest and proudest Seahawks channel on all of YouTube and all of media. The best way for more people to find what we are doing here on the channel is with your help. So please help us out. Share the video on social media. It'll help the Seahawks Today family grow. Another wide receiver? That's who Daniel Jeremiah has the Seahawks taken at pick number 32. KC Concepcion. He was a fantastic speedster this year with Texas A&M. And he's the type of wide receiver that the Seahawks could potentially take if a guy like Rashid Shaheed decided to not re-sign with the Seattle Seahawks. My initial gut reaction was this. Why? Even if Shaheed doesn't decide to stay in Seattle, well, the Seahawks have Tory Horton. They don't necessarily need a speedster wide receiver. They need a corner, or they could need more edge help. They could need more interior offensive line help. It feels like there are more positions that are needed or have a greater need than that wide receiver room. Then I started doing more research, and I started taking a little bit of a closer look at Concepcion, and I started to kind of fall in love with this guy. And the more that I fell in love with Concepcion, the more that I imagined him in a Seahawks uniform, because he does a lot of things really freaking well. I understand he's not the biggest wide receiver. I understand that he is not the strongest wide receiver, but he is the fastest. And a lot of really fast, small wide receivers have had success in Seattle as of late. I know Tyler Lockett's the easy one to point to, but it's not like Doug Baldwin was super big. It's not like Jermaine Kearse was super big. It's not like Jackson Smith and Jigba is super big. So maybe just maybe, this isn't so crazy indeed. Let's look at the different reasons why this actually might end up being a sneaky good pick for the Seattle Seahawks. And the first one is that the Seahawks need some Rashid Shaheed insurance. What do I mean by that? Well, Rashid Shaheed is going to be a free agent this season. And while I believe that the Seahawks are going to do everything in their power to make sure that they bring him back to Seattle, I cannot guarantee that Shaheed will be brought back with the Seahawks. When you look at the season that he had this year, he had a ton of success early on in the year in New Orleans. A lot less in Seattle. Now, some of that is New Orleans was trying to drive up his trade value, while the Seahawks, they were trying to win a lot of football games. And I do believe that the more often that Shaheed works with Sam Darnold, the more opportunities there will be for Shaheed to, play a lot better or to be unlocked. Because I don't think it's necessarily unfair to say that Shaheed played bad in Seattle. I just don't think that the chemistry was built up with Darnold, and that chemistry would easily be able to be built up over an offseason. I do believe that if Seattle is willing to pay Rashid Shaheed, he will be unlocked, and he will end up looking like the deep play threat that we all believe that he can be with the Seahawks. Problem is, the Seahawks are going to be willing to pay him. There are a lot of teams in the National Football League that are looking for a proven commodity when it comes to that return position, whether it's punt returner or kick returner, because we saw in Seattle how Shaheed can single-handedly change an outcome of a game. I would make the argument that in 3 different games, Shaheed won the football game for the Seahawks. The Atlanta game, that kick return that he had at halftime, it completely changed that game. That game was almost tied or was already tied. It was really close against the Falcons. The minute that he scores, the offense gets going, Seahawks dominate. That Rams game on Thursday night, if he doesn't return that punt, Seattle doesn't get back into that game to win it in overtime. And then, well, Shaheed won the divisional round game against the San Francisco 49ers all by himself with a big-time return to start the game. Obviously, teams are going to want to pay him. Does that drive the price up and be too high for the Seahawks? Will Rashid Shaheed play for the Seattle Seahawks in 2026? Let me know down below in the comment section, yes or no. And if the answer is no, well then KC Concepcion definitely looks like someone that might be more likely of a pick for the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to get into more reasons why I think Concepcion would be a gigantic and great fit for the Seahawks, of course, if these things do happen. But before we do any of that, I need to let you know about my good friends over at Marsmen, because nobody tells you about these things. One day, you're absolutely crushing everything. And then all of a sudden, you're wondering why everything feels twice as hard. After V-Day, I kind of treated it like a reset. I wanted to feel energized again, not worn down. So I'm keeping it simple and doing something natural that supports my body where it needs it. That's why I'm taking Marsmen. It helps your body unlock usable testosterone so you can feel like yourself again. Check out mengotomars.com to get 50% off for life plus free shipping and 3 free gifts. Stronger physical performance and recovery in the gym? What is not to love? Marsmen supports healthy T levels, energy, and stamina with 8 natural, clinically dosed ingredients, including vitamin D, zinc, and boron. The best part, there's a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Worst case, you don't absolutely love it and you get your money back, but over 91% of users report higher energy levels. Thousands of guys are feeling incredible results. Just check out the reviews on the website to see for yourself. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them Seahawks Today sent you. Shout out to Marsmen. Your boy's trying to get yoked. All right, back to the more important things other than talking about my biceps or the lack thereof. Next, we got to talk about Tory Horton because the Seahawks might want some Tory Horton insurance even if Rashid Shaheed decides to end up re-signing in Seattle. When you look at Tory Horton, the guy is freaking explosive. Think about the special teams unit for the Seahawks. Obviously, Shaheed had 3 returns. Tory Horton, he got into the end zone quite a bit as well. You can even look in this picture here for this graphic. That's Tory Horton returning a frickin' punt for the Seahawks. That's how well the special teams unit is doing for the Seahawks. But more importantly, with that stat line, you can see that there was a lot of success that Horton had for the Seahawks. But the problem is that Tory Horton, he got hurt. And he ended up missing the rest of the year. And that's also something that happened a little bit at Colorado State as well. So as well as Tory Horton has been playing, and he can clearly fit into that role of being a speedster for the Seahawks while also being a kick and punt return guy, when you have an injury history, it's rare that someone goes from getting hurt a lot to not getting hurt. And so if Tory Horton is already getting hurt a decent amount for the Seahawks, well, it might stand to reason that this continues to happen. So if I'm John Schneider and I'm looking at how I want to build my team, and Mike McDonald clearly wants to build his offense with a bunch of speedsters on the outside that can also return punts and kicks, maybe it makes sense to bring in a guy like Concepcion just in case Tory Horton ends up getting hurt again or having multiple years where he ends up having to miss some time. Now you have multiple different options that you can use on the special teams while also still getting that skill level and the certain skills and assets that you want when it comes to the wide receiver position. We got to talk about some other skills and assets as well because St. Patrick's Day, it's right around the corner. And one of the biggest assets that you can have is foresight. And I think right now the best foresight that you could possibly have is by going and grabbing this St. Patrick's Day t-shirt that we have over on chatsports.com/cgreen. Look at how sweet that green t-shirt is. Join the Seattle drinking team. We got the Navy as well. Super affordable, only $29.99. All you got to do, go into the comment section and description of today's video, or description, whichever you prefer, and we will have the link to these t-shirts. All you got to do, you click on that link. It'll take you right where you need to go, and you can grab yourself one today. Don't miss out on this sweet deal. The next thing that we got to talk about why the Seahawks could go and, well, draft KC Concepcion, and I think this is probably the most obvious. He's a freaking good receiver, man. He's a really good player. There's a reason why the Aggie has been linked to being potentially one of the top picks in the NFL draft, and why he could be a first-round pick. Look at his last season that he had with Texas A&M. If you're not watching a lot of college football, I'll make sure that you know this right now. KC Concepcion was not working with the best quarterback talent of all time. Still almost ends up having 1,000 yards, ended up having 9 touchdowns as well. And that wasn't just a one-season type of a deal. When you look at him and the success that he had over at NC State, you can tell that he is a guy that has a nose for the end zone. He has over 2,000 yards receiving for his career, over 25 touchdowns. 25 touchdowns, producer Searle. The guy can clearly ball out. This is a player that has a knack for getting into the end zone. This is a guy and a player who knows how to get open. This is a player that, while he is able to use his greatest asset, which is his speed, he's also smart. He knows how to run a route that's going to beat the defender. Might not be a bad idea to just add a bunch of talent. Take a position that's a strength, make it even more so of a strength. The last thing that's important to note with Concepcion, he's a great special teams guy. He's a guy that you can use if you really want to as a gunner or someone who you could use in kickoffs and punts as someone who's going down making the big-time tackles as the returner is catching the football. But more importantly, he's an elite returner. When you look at the Seahawks offense, basically every wide receiver for the Seahawks at one point in their career, whether it was in the NFL or in college, worked as a punt returner or a kick returner. Concepcion is no exception. He's an elite returner, and he's someone that could instantly add to the special teams of the Seahawks, and that is a group and a asset of the game that the Seahawks clearly care about. They've spent a lot of money and taken a lot of time and capital and making sure that they have great returners, and they have a coach in Harbaugh that knows how to get the most out of his players, and he continues to help this special teams unit be a major factor for the Seahawks. So maybe Daniel Jeremiah isn't all that crazy. Maybe going out and getting KC Concepcion is the last little piece that the Seahawks could use to build an offense that doesn't just win one Super Bowl, but wins multiple Super Bowls. Maybe we're not just talking about how great the defense is next year, but we're talking about how great the offense is. Because I still think that there's room for that offense to grow, and I think that it will under new offensive coordinator Brian Fleury. Maybe KC Concepcion is the person that can do that for the Seahawks. Maybe the Seahawks decide not to spend their money in free agency because they know they're about to get a demon in the draft. Should the Seattle Seahawks draft KC Concepcion? Let me know down below in the comment section, yes or no. Make sure whatever your opinion is, it's not right or wrong because it's your opinion, but make sure that you say it with your chest. Thank you so much for viewing today's video. Make sure that you share it with your friends who bleed blue and green. We want to grow the Seahawks today, faithful as big as we possibly can. So make sure you hit that sub button. If you're just finding our channel and you haven't been able to hit that sub button yet, make sure that you do so now as well. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bang! What's going on? Tech and Power Hub. Good to see you, sir. That is so freaking cool. Love to see you in here. Love to see my guy Arcane Electric and the great Cody Bilbrey. Tech and Power Hub says the free agent sales pitch, want to be a champion or not. Dude, I think that's freaking solid. I could not agree with you more. And I actually believe that that is pretty much what the sales pitch is going to be from head coach Mike McDonald. I think that he does a great job of selling his players and selling to his coaching staff that if you come here, you're going to be successful. And if you're going to be successful, well, you're going to want to do it in Seattle. We're 3 likes away right now from getting to 115 likes. Here is what we are going to do. I said that once my guy Peyton sent in that first 20 for that super, that I would be doing push-ups for every super the rest of the way. So right now I owe 42 push-ups before we sign off. I will double that. If in the next 4 minutes, producer Searle, we get to 115 likes. We're at 113 right now. Producer Searle is going to put up a 4-minute counter. If we get to that 115 likes in that time, like I said, I'm going to double the amount of push-ups that I owe. Here's what's also important to note. After those 4 minutes are up, we are going to get into our mailbag segment. So, make sure if you have a question or you have a comment or you have a threat or a concern that you get those super chats in now. We have a ton that have already come in. I am going to do my best to get your hashtag questions in, but I cannot guarantee that. So make sure that you get those in right now. We'll just switch that to, it can just say countdown on that clock. And once we do that, we will be good to go. By the way, producer Searle, I'm doubling those push-ups because we're at 115 likes. That was our goal for the video today. Thank you to everyone who came in and hit that thumbs up button. That is so freaking cool. Let's start that countdown, sir. Oh, no worries. Once you are ready to go, we are going to be fired up. The Lord Disciple, if you show up an hour into our live and miss our first 2 segments and then complain about not knowing what the big news is, sir, that's on you. The big news, which we talked about in the first segment, is that Rashid Shaheed likes and is planning on being in Seattle. You can feel free to watch that segment in a couple of hours when we repost it back on the channel. But if you are going to come in after we've been live for an hour, I'm not going to feel bad for you. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Yeah, producer Searle's giggling off the screen. He knows I'm fired up. Yeah. Yep. Hey, guess what? I understand that you're crying. That's not going to change what I'm doing. I understand that you're crying. That doesn't mean you get to cut in line. I understand that you're crying. That doesn't mean that you're going to get to have that piece of cake right now. Pop toes, it's okay. I appreciate you having our back. I would say that it is huge news that Rashid Shaheed said that he would like to be back. Said that he'd like to be back in Seattle and is kind of planning on being back. I think that's important. But what do I know? Maybe I'm just a big dumb idiot. I'll tell you right now, producer Searle, I'd love for you to pop yourself up on the screen. It's been a fun show today. What do you think was your favorite part of the day today?
Just today or the show in general?
This show, yeah. What you've been kind of coming in last 3 months? 3 months you've turned into a Seahawks fan since you've been working here with us?
Absolutely.
What's your favorite part so far about taking over? What's something that you didn't know about the 12s that you're learning now?
I don't know. I think I've always heard about the passion of the 12s, but to see it up close and in person has been incredible. The watch parties have been so much fun with you guys, and we can't wait to continue those next season. It's going to be a long off season, that's for sure. Going to miss those watch parties with the 12s. But don't worry, we'll still be live on Thursday afternoons for you.
Yes, sir.
But overall, it's been fantastic. I love being a part of the 12s, and you guys have welcomed me with open arms, so I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate everyone down below that's hanging out with us, having a good time. We're just going to be done with that. If we're going to be negative, we're just going to be done. I appreciate everyone who's coming to our defense. That is freaking awesome. That means the world to me. We are always going to have you covered with the best content, in my personal opinion. Hats off. Here, look. Here's how appreciative I am. There's the bald noggin. It's not often I show it. There's the bald noggin. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Here's what I think is important about this channel, and it is something that I can promise you. We are always going to do our best to be informative while also entertaining. We are going to make sure that we get the news and the rumors to you, but we're also going to have a little bit of fun with the things that we do. And so I appreciate everyone who has come in and had fun today. And Jerry, I appreciate you, man. That's so freaking awesome. I said I was going to do push-ups. We'll do them after the mailbag, of course. I appreciate Peyton. I appreciate Cody. I appreciate Tech and Power Hub. I appreciate Pop Toes, Arcane Electric. You're the freaking best. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. There are also a lot of other great creators around Seahawks, and so I will not disparage them. I will not disparage them because I do think that they do a good job as well. And I do enjoy some of their content. No worries. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You got 10 seconds to get your hashtags or your super chats into the channel. If you wanted to get that in. Jerry, I got you an extra raffle ticket because you're coming to the defense of us, people who show up just to complain, learn how to have a good time, and enjoy life. I couldn't agree more, man. I couldn't agree more. There's one thing that I learned. I'm 28 years old. Yeah, that's right. 28 and a half, actually. Congratulations to me. Hit that 2 days ago, 3 days ago, something like that. Maybe not a half. I might be wrong on that. Anyways, what I've learned is that if I don't enjoy something, I just don't do it. Hey, guess what? I don't enjoy watching competitive underwater basket weaving. It's not something that I think is fun. I don't watch it. Yeah, I know. Shocking to you. Shocking to you, Cyril. I understand. I understand. Not something that we typically watch in the Ortner household. But you know what I don't do? I don't go on their YouTube channel and complain about them. It's not something that I typically do. I think this is a great question, Cyril, and I'm going to let you ask it.
I think so, too. You going to get on with your push? Oh, I thought you were going to do your push-ups, and I was going to ask the question.
Oh, I was going to do it at the end of the show.
Oh,
I was going to do it at the end of the show.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
I was going to do it at the end of the show. So
All right,
we'll
here's
do
the
mailbag
question for you
and then
guys,
I'll do
though.
our push-ups.
All right, here's the question, though. Grade the Seahawks offseason so far. A, B, C, D, or F.
Yes.
Let us know what you think, why you like it, why you dislike it, maybe why you hate it, or why you love it. What have they done right so far?
I think it's great, and it's a great question. So here's what we're going to do. Make sure you answer that in the comment section right now. We're going to dive into our mailbag. Cyril will come back after, and he will answer. It'll be hard. You, unfortunately, will not be able to see me do the push-ups just because of the camera angle. I'll be down. I'll make sure that I have my mic going just to let everyone know as well. It was pull day today, so hopefully the chest is going to do okay with the push-ups. I also did just watch the Most Dangerous Gym in America YouTube channel. Very excited. Very excited about that. Very excited. I love it. Thank you to Cody. Thank you to Jerry down below in the comment section right now, answering all of those. My guy Peyton, let's see, how many push-ups do I owe? I said so 20, 40, and then I think we're just going to end up doing 100. We're going to end up doing 100. We're going to be close. That's ballpark it. We'll ballpark it. We'll say it's going to end up being 100. All right. We in a good spot, producer Cyril? Absolutely love it. We'll be back to do my push-ups at the end of the show today. Thank you for everyone who's hanging out with us. Right now, we're going to film our mailbag. Thank you to everyone who sent in a super. Use the hashtag Seahawks. If you see yourself during this segment, this will go out on Saturday. So make sure that you check out our video so you can see yourself again. This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we're going to be diving into the latest questions that Seahawk fans have about the Seattle Seahawks. It's been a busy offseason, to say the least, although it's been a very short offseason. So I know there's a ton of questions that are circling, a ton of hot takes when it comes to some of the free agents or potential draft picks that the Seahawks could make. So we're going to be answering all of those questions and talking about that today. But before we get into any of that, St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner, and Chat Sports has you covered on the freshest t-shirts that you could possibly wear when you're out having a good time on St. Patty's Day. We got the Seattle Drinking Team. You want to establish yourself as a founding member, you can grab this navy t-shirt or you can grab the green. I think both are super cool. Super affordable as well. Only $29.99. You can go grab yourself up one and you'll be looking so fresh, so fly. They're made from the same quality material like the t-shirt that I have on right now. All you got to do is go into the comment section or description of today's video. Click on the link that we have. It'll take you right to where you want to go and grab that t-shirt. Plus, if you go grab a t-shirt, we are going to shout you out on a future show. I get alerted when you make that purchase, and so I'll make sure that everybody knows that you're a part of the Seattle Drinking Team. Timmy! What's going on? Tim Riggins. I hope that's the real one. Who should the Seahawks sign in free agency? Tim, I think that's a fantastic question, and as much as I would love to sign you in free agency, I think that there is a player that just hit free agency from the Miami Dolphins that would be great in Seattle, because I do think that there is a chance that Seattle ends up moving on or not being able to keep not only Boye Mafe, but I do think that there is a world where Uchenna Nwosu doesn't come back to Seattle just because of his price tag. I think that Bradley Chubb could potentially come into Seattle and be a little bit of a cheaper position player. And what Chubb does a great job of doing is not only does he get after the quarterback, he also does a great job of stopping the run game, which we all know is something that is very important to head coach Mike Macdonald. So if the price tag is right there, don't be shocked if the Seattle Seahawks end up going out and signing a guy in the name of Bradley Chubb to be an edge rusher for the Seattle Seahawks. What I also believe is cool about the Seahawks potentially going out and adding Chubb is that he does get them to be a little bit younger, right? When you talk about the Seahawks team, they're very young in most positions, but in that edge room, they are not as young as we might normally want them to be. Well, Bradley Chubb can help you get a little bit younger there. If you want the Seahawks to continue to crush this offseason, make sure that you like this video. Don't jinx it. Whenever you have an opportunity to not jinx anything, I try to make sure that I stay a part of it. I'm going to like today's video. Make sure that you do as well. I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious. And that's why I'd make sure that I'd hit that thumbs up button on everything we got going on today. Pop Toes, what's going on, man? Do you think we can get Max Crosby? I think that is a fantastic question, Pop Toes. I do believe that the Seahawks are going to be able to potentially get Max Crosby, because when I look at what the Raiders are asking for, I think it makes sense for the Seahawks to come in and make that trade actually happen. Now, this is a trade that was proposed on our Raiders Report show. Host Mitchell Renz over there, he said that the Seahawks could potentially get Max Crosby for 2 first-round picks and Tyrese Knight. In my head, do it. You're trading away a guy who's been a backup player for the Seahawks this year, re-signed Drake Thomas, and you're giving away 2 first-round picks. Probably not going to be high picks. Definitely not the 2026. Don't expect the 2027 pick to be very high. You're telling me that Seattle can get a better player or a player of equal talent to Max Crosby at that spot? Probably not. Make the trade. Go get Max Crosby. Michael, thoughts on picking up Kenneth Gainwell? It's not a bad decision necessarily, but to me, I think if the Seahawks are going to go pick up a Kenneth, it should be Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Gainwell could be someone that you say, hey, we want to go 2 running back system. Zach Charbonnet, we don't like the progression that he's had so far when it comes to his knee injury. Hey, why don't we go and grab a guy like Kenneth Gainwell to be that second guy? I think that George Halani kind of fits what you want to do already. Plus, you have futures contracts with Cam Akers and Bayless Jones and Jacardier Wright. So you already have some running backs that are in your system that are going to be a little bit cheaper. So unless you really believe that Kenneth Gainwell is going to be someone that takes this running back room to the next level, I don't know that that's where I would typically go. Bunny, what's going on? Would you sign Pittman if he doesn't sign with the Colts? And if you do, why and how much would you pay? Yes, I would like to kick the tires on Michael Pittman Jr. The reasoning for this is he does something and is a type of player that the Seahawks don't really have other than A.J. Barner. So when you look at the Seahawks offense, look at the wide receiver room and think about the players that they have. Cooper Kupp is a little bit on the taller side, but he's not all that tall. Jackson Smith and Jigba is undersized. Yet Rashid Shaheed is going to be on the smaller end. Tory Horton, they're going to be on the smaller ends. At least they are going to be speedsters, not so much as a throw up and get the ball guy. A.J. Barner kind of fits that role for you right now. Michael Pittman Jr. could easily take over as the wide receiver that is on the taller end of that side. When I look at his stats so far in his career, I would tell you right now that our guy Michael Pittman Jr. is a stud, and he is someone that could instantly add into this offense. The Colts, they're not going to be able to keep him and Alec Pierce. So to me, if they do move on from Michael Pittman, he could add as a tall, big, box-out type of receiver that the Seattle Seahawks do not already have. Who do the Seahawks have to re-sign this free agency? Make sure that you sound off down below in the comment section and let us know loud and proud. We want to know what your opinions are of the Seattle Seahawks and who is the most important player that they have to keep in free agency. Xander! Let's go Hawks! I can't wait for the combine and I can't wait for the draft. Shout out to the U.S. Olympic women's hockey team for kicking some ass. Hey, Xander, I want to make sure that I let you know and I let anyone else know who's viewing today's video. Chat Sports, we're going to have boots on the ground at the combine. So we are going to have a ton of content here on the channel surrounding the Seattle Seahawks and some potential draft prospects for our team that we all know and love. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you can view all the fun content that we have coming out next week. Combine is right here. Also, suck it, Canada. Light Shadow Onyx, what's going on? How would you feel if we got rid of Walker, but able to go get Breece Hall for a cheaper price? I think if you get priced out of Kenneth Walker, that means he's making probably close to top 7, top 5 money in that running back room and in the running back position. So if that's how much he's going to make, that puts Kenneth Walker somewhere around the $12, $13 million range. That seems a little bit high to me. So yeah, I'd be okay going after Breece Hall. Now, Breece Hall obviously has some of the injury issues in his past, but I do think that he would fit well into this system. And you have to remember that Seattle wants to run a two-headed running back type of system. So eventually Charbonnet would be able to come back or George Halani would step into that role. So yeah, potentially, depending on what you could get Breece Hall for, I would not hate it. Kenneth Walker, he's still going to be my number one guy, though. Jerry! By the way, Jerry, shout out to you, a new member of the Seattle drinking team. I saw that you got one of those t-shirts. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. Seahawks trading the 32nd pick, no doubt. John Schneider going to create more picks. A diamond would need to fall to 32 for them to make that pick. Jerry, I don't hate that decision. You have to remember, because of the Rashid Shaheed trade, the Seahawks don't have their 4th or their 5th pick in this draft. So that means the Seahawks have 1, 2, 3, and 6 in this draft. Now, there is a chance they could get some compensatory picks, right? But right now, Seattle doesn't have a ton of draft picks, and it isn't that shocking for the Seahawks in the John Schneider era to trade back and acquire more and more and more picks. JS is much more of a GM who likes to have a lot of quantity when it comes to his draft picks so that if a couple do end up hitting, he gets to maximize as much of those picks as possible. I don't hate that decision there, Jerry. Jerry, you're right back. He says, what does the secondary look like if we lose Riq Woolen and Josh Jobe? Well, Devin Witherspoon's still under contract, and I do believe the Seahawks are going to end up extending him. The other guy who would be still there is Nehemiah Pritchett. If that's what the Seahawks end up doing, you're going to have to find a way to make a big-time free agent signing, although the free agents in this cornerback room and class are not that great. That's why you're seeing Riq Woolen really pop up more and more, and he moves higher and higher on a lot of those cornerback boards. And if that's the case, well, then Seattle, they're going to have to use at least 1, if not 2, of their first couple of picks on a cornerback early. Because I'll tell you right now, it's not a whole lot of cornerbacks in Seattle's room. Peyton, what's going on? I think we can get Tyler Linderbaum, 4 years, $76 million. Linderbaum might end up making a little bit more than 76 mil, but I do think that the Seahawks could go out and grab him. Now, it is important to note that Linderbaum is one of the best, if not the best, centers in the National Football League. He is going to reset the market. Look at how well he performed in Baltimore. When you're having a PFF grade close to 80 overall, you're doing something pretty darn right. I would love the Seahawks to go after him and pay him a ton of money, but you're going to have to reset the market. Right now, Creed Humphreys makes the most when it comes to that center position. So if the Seahawks are going to get this done, they got to pay Tyler Linderbaum a ton of money. And I think that they could. Also be on the lookout for a guy like Connor McGovern of Buffalo, someone that could be a little bit cheaper, but Seattle goes after and signs at center. Also important note, because I want to make sure this is clear, you would not move on from Jalen Sendell. You would move him to potentially right guard, let him go and battle it out with Anthony Bradford. Payton, playing with fire, bro. Also, I don't think the price for Max C will be way too high. Let's go back into that trade graphic because I really want to dive into it a little bit deeper since we're having so many questions. And we're having so many great questions around the potential for a Max Crosby trade. When I look at what Mitchell Renz, our Raiders report host, a guy who is more plugged in with the Las Vegas Raiders than pretty much anyone on the planet, he has the Raiders being willing to give up Max Crosby for 2 first-round picks and Tyrese Knight. To me, that's the Seahawks giving up a backup linebacker, a good linebacker, but a backup. They would be trading the 32nd overall pick, which essentially is a second-round pick, no matter what. And then if Max Crosby comes into Seattle, you cannot tell me that this isn't a postseason team. You cannot tell me if Max Crosby comes into Seattle with the coaching staff that the Seahawks have built, with the offensive roster that the Seahawks have built, that this isn't a team that could go back-to-back. So you're potentially telling me that the Seahawks would be giving up the 32nd pick 2 years in a row for Max Crosby? Hell yeah, I'd make that deal. Hell yeah, I'd make that deal. Worst case scenario for the Seahawks, that first round pick next year is going to be what? 20th? Maybe? I don't think the Seahawks are going to be in the teens. They're a postseason team next year right now without Max Crosby. So if you're telling me Seattle gets Max Crosby, I think that we could go back-to-back fairly easily. All of a sudden, the Seahawks are the dynasty of the 2020s. And what's most important is that you're really giving away nothing to the Raiders. So yeah, I do that deal, and I do it in a heartbeat. Let me know what you do down below in the comment section. Light Shadow Onyx, he says, rate my Seahawks mock draft. Zachariah Branch at wide receiver, Kamari Ramsey, Zaki Wheatley at corner, Gerard Washington, cornerback, Aiden Fisher, linebacker. I actually don't hate this. This is a very good mock draft if it's your very first one, Light Shadow Onyx, because you have the Seahawks taking a bunch of guys in positions that they will need. Wide receiver, there is a potential that the Seahawks will need to go in and draft a wide receiver. Daniel Jeremiah had Seattle taking KC Concepcion, so that makes sense. You're going out and grabbing a safety. Potentially could need a safety, especially if Kobe Bryant moves on in free agency. Definitely going to need a lot of corners, especially if Woolen and Joe both end up moving on. And going to need a linebacker. Whether the Seahawks bring back Drake Thomas or not, you're going to need more depth there. So when I look at that, that's pretty good. You're hitting on a lot of positions of need. Now, I'd have to look at the mock draft itself to see who was there at those specific positions at that specific time. But I'll tell you right now, Light Shadow Onyx, give you a strong B+, sir. Give you a very strong B+. Tech and Power Hub, what's going on, sir? Says free agent sales pitch. Want to be a champion or not? That's so effing fire, sir. That is so effing fire. I know that that's going to be Mike McDonald's pitch as well. That's what I said to Searle when he was coming on to be our producer here. I said, do you want to be a champion or not? And then he took off his Nebraska hat. Sorry, Producer Searles. Let me know that I'm number one right now in a finger that I cannot show up on the channel. Arcane Eclectic. Arcane. Good to see you, sir. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. Have you guys done a mock draft yet or talked about our wants and needs and who is sitting around our draft spots? Thank you so much, by the way. Love and appreciate you. Arcane, we've talked about a couple of guys that the Seahawks could take in that first round draft slot. In fact, we've talked a little bit about some position players that I really like, an offensive lineman that I really like. We've talked about a couple of defensive players that I really like and a cornerback for that one specific spot. Now, believe it or not, because the Seahawks were winning so much, I wasn't able to actually go in and do as much combine and scouting as I might normally want to. So what we are going to do as the NFL Combine is next week, we are going to do more and more research here on the channel that I can promise you, and we are going to do more and more mock draft content. Now, we've done a couple of different videos already on the channel about what could happen at pick 32. But I'm telling you right now, we're going to do a lot more on a deep dive on the second, third, and sixth round picks that the Seahawks have right now. So don't worry. More and more mock draft content will come out, and I'm sure I'll have you guys ranking my mock drafts here very soon. The commish. What's up, Raji? Should the Seahawks draft an offensive lineman at pick 32? Hey, look, Arcane. We're going to talk a little bit about the draft right here, right now. I'll tell you that if Seattle is going to make a pick in 32, they're going to keep it if they choose to, and they go offensive line. To me, it's this duck right here. Emmanuel Pregnon. He had a very good year last year with the Oregon Ducks. Obviously, these are PFF grades, so it is important to note that they're not always going to be perfect, but they're pretty darn good. When Pregnon was playing for the Ducks, obviously got to see him a lot. I'll tell you right now, he was fantastic. Really held down that offensive line, played extremely well. Very good in the pass pro as well as in the run blocking, but he also does a fantastic job of not doing the stupid things. You can see right here from the stats that while the overall is great, he doesn't give up sacks. He doesn't really let his quarterback get hit. He does a great job of keeping the pocket clean, and he doesn't cost his team extra yards. So when I look at a guy like Emmanuel Pregnon, I think that he would be a perfect fit in Seattle. He's mean, he's nasty, and guess what? He plays guard. He plays freaking guard. So that would make sense for the Seahawks to me if they are going to go in there and draft an offensive lineman for that spot. Make sure that you don't jinx it. Come on in, hit the thumbs up button on today's video, and make sure that you join us next Thursday when we are live so you could potentially be added in to our mailbag like so many of the other wonderful 12s who are hanging out with us on Thursday when this video, of course, was filmed. Make sure that you hit that thumbs up button. We always really appreciate it. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure that you do that as well. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. What a day, Searle. What a day. What a freaking day. Hey, do you remember that lower third that we have with the drinking team, the member of the drinking team? Can you put Jerry B on it and you flash that up when I'm doing my push-ups? Because I want to make sure that my guy, Jerry B, gets the shout-out that he deserves. He's a fantastic Seahawks fan, and he's a fantastic Seahawks Today fan. Jerry B, the man, the myth, the legend. By the way, I'm going to make sure that I get you that raffle ticket there, Arcane. I'm going to make sure that I get you that raffle ticket there. Bam. Jerry B. Jerry B is a member of the drinking team. I told you, in the middle of the show today, Jerry went and grabbed that T-shirt. I get updated the minute that we get a T-shirt bought. If you want to be a part of a future show just like Jerry is going to be, make sure that you send or you go into the comment section, you click that link, you go buy that T-shirt because it is so freaking sweet. So we asked you earlier to make sure that you graded the offseason. Producer Searle is going to pop himself up on the screen, and I'm going to start doing some push-ups. You want to interact with Producer Searle, let us know right now in the comment section. Do you have it as an A? Do you have it as a B, a C, a D, or anything else in the offseason? And enjoy my grunts as I do my push-ups.
Here we go, Hortner. He said, what a day, and his day is just getting started with these push-ups. You're killing it so far. All right, back to the question, though. Grade the Seahawks offseason, A, B, C, D, or F. And I'm going to scroll back up in the comments to see what you guys had to say a bit earlier. Let's see. Jerry says A+. Lost our OC, but kept most of staff while bringing in some great leaders. Totally agree, Jerry. Cody gives it an A, and he says stoked about the new OC. Jerry's also stoked. Pop Toes gives the Seahawks offseason an A as well. A lot of A's. I don't think there's many people that are too upset right now.
No, it's been pretty dang good. When you can get a guy that you weren't expecting to be your OC, and then the more you read about him, that he's so freaking awesome, it's pretty much a dub all day.
If you guys tuned into Fleury's press conference today, I think it was today, let me know what you guys thought. Ordner, did you tune in?
I like to do that. I like to wait.
Sure.
So I'll be tuning into Fleury's probably tonight. It was nice. It was a busy week. Special lady friends out in Vegas right now, getting ready to compete for High Rocks. Very excited for her, but that led to a lot of running around for your boy.
Sure.
So I want to make sure that I gave it the time and attention that it deserved. Just like I give you guys the time.
Nice job with those, by the way.
Yeah. We almost did it unbroken. We got close. Always love getting sweaty in jeans. But anyways, thank you guys all so much for joining us today. Thank you guys for coming in. And just frankly having a good time, man. I had a good time today. I hope producer Searle did as well. Like I said, we're going to have a ton of content coming out for you guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, one, what are you doing? Make sure you hit that sub button. But more importantly, if you have a friend that loves the Seahawks, share the video with them right now. Get them to subscribe. Because the amount of content that we're going to have coming out next week is insane. Producer Searle and I have already talked about it. We are going to be in the office basically all day next week. Because we have so much news, rumors that we're going to be breaking down on the channel. The offseason is just ramping up. Next week is the Combine. Free agencies right after that. Right back into the draft. You don't want to miss any of that content. So hit the sub button. Share the videos with your friends who are not subscribed either. Thank you guys so much for showing up. It was a lot of fun today. I really enjoyed it. Still out of breath. It's all right. I got to work on my cardio. We're a strength athlete. We're not really an endurance athlete, but we'll get there. Thank you guys again so much for hanging out with us. Can't wait to see you guys next time. Love y'all.